Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Real Madrid against Manchester City in the Champions League round of 16. Did we expect anything else? Absolutely not. Thibaut Courtois and I think Arbeloa did say it as well after the Benfica game that we are gonna get we're gonna get Manchester City, and there it is. It has happened. It is basically the Champions League CLASICO these days, isn't it? And look, I'll get onto it later on, just a little bit about who I think will win, and we'll talk a little bit about the Champions League as a whole because there are some really good matchups, I would say, across the entire Champions League round of 16. And obviously, now that we are into the round of 16, you sort of paint a little bit of the picture of what you're gonna get in the quarterfinals, in the semi-finals, and in the finals. So you can sort of see the routes for each team and what's most likely to come. Of course, upsets, cup sets can happen, but yeah, it is very exciting and very interesting indeed to see what might happen. But I just think I've said this for the past couple of weeks before we even got here. After Real Madrid finished outside of the top 8 and we finished ninth and we were drawn to play either Sporting or Manchester City, I was like, please, Sporting, please. And it's not because I think Sporting are a pushover or a walk in the park. It's just the fact that I'm sick and tired of playing Man City. You know, I just think that we'll play Man City every single year, basically. And it's just so repetitive and it's just so boring. It really is. I mean, we're basically playing them every season. Like, we're playing them in the same league. Like, how can you how can you um look at it and go, wow, I'm so excited, I'm so looking forward to it. And ultimately ultimately whether whether you think Real Madrid will win or Man City will win, it just isn't entertaining anymore. It's a little bit like the Super League, right? Part of the reason why people didn't want the Super League was obviously the main reason is obviously you've got many teams are excluded from it unfairly, and it's sort of like the same teams play against the same teams every season. There isn't any change. There isn't any creativity, and I don't care if they say the draw is just like that. I don't believe it's rigged. I don't really believe it's fixed. But why is it that we end up playing Man City and they end up playing us every single freaking year, man? Like, even in a group stage, the league phase, we already played them and we lost, right? We lost deservedly so. But we already played them. And the fact that we're playing them again. I used to like the old format because there was that rule. After you play them in the group stages, you obviously can't play them in the round of 16. It's gone. They've scrapped it, right? Because guess what? Why do you think that's the case? Because there's so many more teams involved now, and any that you can have multiple teams from you can have so many teams from one single country making it through. And ultimately, back in the days when you had the old format, it wasn't exactly like that. It was really sort of okay. Now the top two, the first will play second, and second will play first. And most times than not, you don't get obviously too many teams from a singular country going through. And even if they do, they had the restriction that okay, teams from Spain cannot play each other. So if let's say Atletico Madrid finished second and Real Madrid finished first in their group, we cannot play them because obviously we're from the same country, right? And I'm not saying that because obviously Real Madrid and Man City are obviously from different leagues and different countries, but because there's so many more English teams, Man City tend to avoid them anyways, and the draw has literally put them in a 50-50 to play us or Bodo Glimt, and they got us. And the draw has given us a 50-50 to get Man City or Sporting, and we get Man City. And you're telling me I'm gonna believe that that's pure, fate and luck and whatever? Like, no, there is something. It's that meme. It is rigged, but I just can't prove it. It is. I'm not gonna say it is, but I feel like it is. Surely it's match fixing or something, because why every year we're getting them? It's crazy. And we got them earlier this season and we lost, right? Last season we played them in the knockout phase in the playoffs, and we won across the two legs. We won both of them. The season before that, we drew both games at home and away, but we won on penalties. The season before that, we were humiliated away at the Etihad 4-0. The season before that, we obviously saw the remontada, 3-1 at home at the Bernabeu, and we went through to the finals. Then we didn't play them the season before that, but we played them the season before that. The 1920 season, we played them in the run of 16, and we lost 4-2 on aggregate. And then the last time we played them was actually 15-16. And then before that was 12-13. But if you just look at it from the 1920 season up until now, you have played them in how many years is that? Like 6 out of 7 seasons. Funnily enough, the same joke again. But I think it's a joke. I think it is. Like, why are we playing them every year? And I believe I read something earlier that this is the first fixture ever in Champions League history that two teams are playing each other in the knockouts for 5 years in a row. So we've obviously played them in the 21-22 season in the semi-finals. We played them the 22-23 season in the semi-finals. We played them in the 23-24 season in the quarterfinals. Last season was in the knockout playoffs, and this season is in the round of 16. 5 straight consecutive years, seasons in a row. Come on, right? Like, I am just so sick and tired of this. And people are gonna say you're just complaining because you're gonna lose, and I agree. I don't see Real Madrid winning it because I don't think we're good enough. But we'll leave that aside. As a fixture, as a neutral, you can't tell me a neutral wants to see Real Madrid Man City again. Like, we talk about neutral fans wanting to see good games. Like, for example, if you look at the other games in the Champions League, I think there were some good ones. So, for example, PSG Chelsea, right? PSG and Chelsea played, last summer in the Club World Cup final? And how many times did they play in the past 3, 4, 5 years? Probably only once or twice, right? It probably never happened, okay? I'm looking at some other games, like Newcastle Barcelona. It happened earlier this season, but how many times are we going to see that? Not really. Spurs against Atletico Madrid. How many times are we going to see that? Not many times. Galatasaray against Liverpool, for example. Like, some of these games, how many times are you going to see it? I can bet you, not many. So, the fact is, if you go and look at every single game in the run of 16, every other game, it's a new experience, it's a new chapter, it's a new challenge for these teams. And then you get Real Madrid Man City again. Like, it's bizarre. And I think it's starting to turn into, like, a CLASICO, really. And, like I said, I am not talking about this because Real Madrid will lose or might lose or whatever. I am solely talking about this from a fan's perspective. We won't get into the game yet because we'll do a preview for it, and ultimately what happens. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. But if we're just talking about the draw and the fixture in itself, we're gonna get them again next season. And who wants that? If I told you right now, you'll get another Real Madrid Man City game for the next season, then the year after that, you're gonna get bored. You're gonna get tired of it. Let alone the Real Madrid and Man City fans themselves. They're gonna get tired of it. We are already tired of it. Let's be honest. So, like I said, people are gonna just look at it and just say, "Oh, you're just complaining because, you're gonna lose." But I'm telling you, if you're a Man City fan, you're gonna be sick and tired of this game, and you probably already are, anyways. But yeah, man. Anyways, let's move on. So we will play the first leg at home. The second leg will be in Manchester at the Etihad. Doesn't bode well, really. We don't do well whenever we have to go away in the second leg, and I mean, even our home form lately hasn't been great, but at least you have something in the second leg. But this will be a huge mental test for these players. The mentality will show, and ultimately, like I said, I don't see it. And I'm gonna be very. I sound like a negative record right now, but I just don't. Like, where's the faith? Where's the optimism? I'm not gonna say it. And then, in terms of the final one here, we've got the entire road, right? So it's very interesting here because we've got, obviously, let's look at the left side. We'll do from left to right. We've got PSG Chelsea. The winners of that game will play Galatasaray and Liverpool. So some really good fixtures, right? If you assume that PSG and Liverpool will make it through, I think a PSG Liverpool quarterfinal will be really good. I think both teams from last season when they played have dropped off, but I think I still expect PSG to make it to the semis at least. I think they are still the best side out of those four teams, but I think I look at Galatasaray, they've got a good team, and I think Victor Osimhen is a great player, and the two English clubs in there, you never know. And then obviously Real Madrid, Man City, you got Atalanta, Bayern Munich. Now, like I said, at this moment in time, I have to say I think Man City will win, and until we see something different, I probably can't say anything different. And Atalanta, Bayern Munich, I think Bayern Munich will get through to the quarterfinals. And then if Man City play Bayern in the quarters, flip sake, I don't know who will go through. Newcastle against Barcelona, quite interesting. Actually, but I think Barcelona have been done really good. They will play Atletico Madrid or Spurs. I mean, they are probably the two most inconsistent teams in the whole tournament, and they've played each other. Probably go with Atletico Madrid. And then you got Bodo Glimt against Sporting. Look, Bodo Glimt can surprise. They can, but obviously their first leg at Bodo Glimt will be really, really crucial. And then Bayer Leverkusen against Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, I think that Arsenal, again, the right hand side is so uneven. Like, the left side has so many good teams. You got PSG, Chelsea, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern. That's the half of the best teams. And then aside, you got Arsenal, you got Barcelona. The rest are like, how many of those teams, apart from Barcelona and Arsenal, are serious contenders to win it? Like, none of them, really, realistically. So, I think if you're on the right hand side, you're really lucky. But, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. That's all I'm going to talk about. I think I talked about enough. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hit the first date, subscribe to just on already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.